While 90% of startups burn through their runway hiring full-time executives they can't afford, the smartest founders are tapping into C-suite talent for as little as $200 per hour. If you're approaching that million-dollar revenue mark and feeling overwhelmed by leadership gaps, I'm about to show you the exact strategy that companies like Misfits Market use to access 25+ years of executive experience without the six-figure salary. Here's how they did it. Here's the brutal reality. Most startups hit a wall around 1 million ARR because they're stuck between two impossible choices. Either hire a full-time executive they can't afford, burning through precious runway, or keep struggling with leadership gaps that kill growth. Meanwhile, your books are getting complex. You need GAAP accounting instead of cash accounting, and investors are asking questions you can't answer. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Every single company in Bull City Venture Partners' portfolio has faced this exact dilemma. This is the inflection where most startups either scale or stall. What I'm about to share comes from analyzing hundreds of startups that cracked this code, including a deep dive into how Misfits Market, the ugly produce subscription service, went from reactive strategy to an $85 million Series B by making one strategic hire that changed everything. I'm going to break down the three-part framework successful founders use to access world-class executive talent without the world-class price tag. If you're scaling a startup and these Fortune 500 strategies are valuable to you, hit that subscribe button. We decode executive tactics like this every week that most founders never learn. Let's dive in. Strategy number 1. Master the timing trigger that separates winners from losers. Here's what Jason Kaplan from Bull City Venture Partners discovered. There's a specific moment when every startup needs fractional executive help, and missing it costs millions. That moment, when you're approaching 1 million in annual recurring revenue, and your books are getting complex. Why this specific number? Because this is when cash accounting stops working and you need GAAP accounting. It's when investors start asking serious questions about your unit economics, burn rate, and path to profitability. Most founders think they can handle this transition themselves, and that's exactly where 90% fail. Take Andrea Ippolito at SimpliFed. Instead of hiring a full-time CFO for $200,000 plus equity, she brought in fractional finance expertise. The result? Clean books, investor confidence, and she kept her runway intact for actual growth initiatives. Implementation. Set up quarterly reviews of your financial complexity. When you hit 750,000 ARR, start your fractional CFO search. Don't wait until you're at 1 million and desperate. Timing matters. An early targeted fractional help saves runway and accelerates investor readiness. Coming up, how to hire for strategic guidance, not task completion. Strategy number 2. Hire for strategic guidance, not task completion. This is where most startups get it catastrophically wrong. They treat fractional executives like expensive consultants instead of strategic partners. Here's how Darren Frankel, a fractional COO who's worked with dozens of venture-backed companies, explains the difference. Quote, "The primary value add we provide is knowing how to think strategically. Where to put your resources, what are the most important things to focus on, and how to do those things." Misfits Market's founder Abhi Ramesh nailed this approach. When they brought on Ken Schuman as their fractional communications executive, they didn't just give him projects, they gave him a seat at the leadership table. Schuman has one-on-ones with the CEO, attends leadership meetings, and shapes multi-year strategy. Quick question. Are you currently struggling with strategic decision-making or task execution in your startup? Drop your biggest challenge in the comments below, and if this strategic thinking approach is shifting how you view hiring, hit that like button. The framework is simple but powerful. Don't hire a fractional executive to execute your ideas. Hire them to challenge and improve your ideas. As one founder put it, your full-time team are great athletes, but fractional executives are the coaches. Implementation. In your first meeting with any fractional candidate, ask this question. What would you do differently than what we're planning? If they just agree with everything, keep looking. When you prioritize strategic guidance, you get leverage beyond the hours they bill. Strategy number 3, create insider access that compounds results exponentially. Here's the advanced strategy that separates good fractional relationships from transformational ones. And it's counterintuitive. Most founders worry about giving outsiders too much access. The most successful do exactly the opposite. Kate Swan from the Fractionals Collective identifies the biggest mistake. People are too busy, and they're not leveraging what they're paying for, because they're not giving enough insider access into the business. Ken Schumann at Misfits Market explains his approach. I don't view myself as a vendor, I'm a partner in every sense of the word. This mindset shift changes everything. He's been with Misfits for 4.5 years, not as a consultant, but as embedded strategic leadership. Before we dive into implementation, here's something remarkable. Ambitious leaders have joined our community to learn strategies exactly like this. If you want weekly insights on scaling with fractional leadership, hit subscribe and the notification bell. The implementation framework: treat your fractional executive like equity leadership. Include them in board meeting prep, strategic planning sessions, and even company retreats. Set up weekly one-on-ones just like you would with full-time C-suite members. The best fractional executives often hire themselves out of a job. They'll build the systems, train your team, and then help you find their full-time replacement. That's not a bug, that's a feature. Next, a simple step-by-step roadmap you can start this week. Here's your step-by-step action plan to implement this fractional executive strategy starting this week. Phase 1. The assessment. Audit your current leadership gaps. Identify which gap is costing you the most money or growth opportunity right now. Phase 2. The search. Start with your network, ask for quantitative results. Phase 3. The structure. Set clear KPIs. Expect monthly retainers from 3 to 15,000 depending on scope. Phase 4. The integration. Give them insider access. Pro tip: companies that properly integrate fractional executives see results 3 times faster than those who treat them like outside consultants. Before you start your fractional executive search, help other founders discover this strategy. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with a founder who's struggling with leadership gaps. For more resources, check the description. Until next week, keep building your leadership advantage. This is the C-Suite Playbook.